Welcome, you're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1673B, and today's date is September 25th, 2018, and the title of the episode is Deep State Playbook Dead, Fear, Panic, Cornered, the Light is Shining Brighter. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about privacy on how the NSA, CIA, social media, corporations are tracking and spying on us 24/7. First, let's take a look at what happened the last couple of weeks here. Now, T-Mobile confirmed that the telecom giant suffered a security breach on its U.S. servers on August 20th that may have resulted in the leak of some personal information of up to 2 million T-Mobile customers. The leaked information included name, billing, zip code, phone number, email address, account number, and account type, prepaid or postpaid. These companies are being hacked over and over, and these hackers are downloading all this information. Apple right now has forced Facebook VPN app out of the iOS store. Why? Because they were stealing users' data. So Facebook removed its mobile VPN app called Anavo Protect from the iOS App Store after Apple declared the app violated the iPhone maker's App Store guidelines on data collection. Now, for those people who are unaware, Anavo Protect is owned by Facebook, and the VPN app was supposed to protect users' data. Instead, Anavo Protect became a data collection tool for Facebook, and it helped the company to track smartphone users. So what does this mean? It means they are watching, listening, and tracking all of us, connecting to our microphones and cameras. Now, it is up to each and every one of us to protect ourselves. How do you do this? Well, you use a VPN, virtual private network. I use Virtual Shield. It allows you to transport yourself somewhere else in the world, and the trackers will not know your true location. Now, Virtual Shield VPN is one of the easiest VPNs to use in the world, one of the fastest VPNs, and their no-log policy protects its users from any data breaches. Now, this month is Virtual Shield's end-of-month blowout sale by offering up to 70% off VPN plans and discounts on all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, residential access, monthly maintenance, phone support, and VIP performance plans. And don't forget about IdentiSafe, which allows the customers the ability to block off computer microphone and camera access from any unwanted spies and hackers. Now, for anyone that is paranoid about the government watching or listening to every move they make via computer, IdentiSafe is for them. So check out the link below, and remember, we all have the right to remain private. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state's playbook, well, it looks like that is coming to an end. It's dead in the water. The deep state, those individuals, they are now panicking. They're spreading fear. As Q said, the sky is about to fall. And the reason for this is because everything that they tried to do is now falling apart. And the real truth is going to be coming out. And they know this is going to bring them down. And they're getting very, very nervous about this. And we're going to be talking about how panicked they really are. But first, it looks like there's about 128 people that were arrested at Capitol Hill on Monday during a protest against Supreme Court Brett Kavanaugh. Now, they were protesting unlawfully, and the police came in and they arrested them. And this is all part of the deep state plan, is to bring the mainstream media out there to make it look like everyone is against Kavanaugh. But what's very interesting about all this, and we've been talking a lot about this, is how everything doesn't add up. And if we really look at this, we can see it's amazing how much careful hedging against perjury charges Kavanaugh's accusers have taken, in contrast with Kavanaugh's defenders. For example, Christine Blasey Ford set off a few red flags from the get-go. Not only because of her first insistence of anonymity in making the charges, then her vague recall of critical details such as when the incident was and how she got there, whose house she was at, and then we had her crazy lawyer's conditions for her client to testify before the Senate, insisting that only male Senate members ask questions, Kavanaugh speak first, and lots of time to set up the Senate hearings due to the Hawaii commuting professor's suddenly disclosed fear of flying, alongside her false claim that the Senate insisted she sit at the same table as Kavanaugh as she made her charges. All those could be called small perjury hedges. Her defenders might argue that those aren't hedges at all, but there is a big one. The fact that she sent her letter accusing Kavanaugh to Representative Anna issue, who sits in a House seat of no importance to the Senate confirmation, and didn't send it to Senator Dianne Feinstein, who sits in the Senate seat of significant importance. Now, why would she have done that? Why didn't she send it to Dianne Feinstein? Because sending a letter to issue and hoping it stays anonymous means it's not under oath, because issue is of no importance to the matter. Sending it to Feinstein means that it is under oath because it's sent as evidence for the case. Now, here's the second thing. All of the three people named as witnesses in the incident, including the female Leland Kaiser, did send letters to the Senate under oath, as did Kavanaugh. That's 4 people. And they all said nothing happened. They didn't take a perjury hedge. If they're lying, they can be busted, quite unlike Ford, the accuser. In the case of the second accuser, Deborah Ramirez, who was a student at Yale and claims that Kavanaugh exposed himself to her, we have the same perjury hedge dynamic. So what has she done? Well, she's only spoken to the press. She's never written down specifically what happened. She's saying her memory is not that great, a lot of hazy and indistinct memories, muddled memories, and they're also a convenient hedge against perjury, since a defense team can't come up with pinned details to refute them. Very interesting. Now, the deep state, they are in panic mode. Trying to keep Kavanaugh from being confirmed is not working. All these stories are starting to unravel, and Grassley right now is digging deeper into all of this, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But Rosenstein right now is not fired. Q has already confirmed that what would be the reason to fire him, because when the D class comes down, there's no reason to fire him because he's going to resign and most likely be indicted, brought up on charges. But Axios is saying they have his letter of resignation. And of course, the mainstream media is out there trying to spin this that he knows he's going to be fired and this is why he's resigning. No, he's resigning because he was caught doing things illegally. And Q has put up the post 2274, which we went over yesterday. And Q is asking and telling us, who's next in line? Who's going to handle the Mueller probe? How does this all work? Now, very interestingly, Noel Francisco is the next one in line, and he will oversee the special counsel with a commitment to justice as acting attorney general for this matter. Now, what's very interesting about this is Noel Francisco is an American attorney and the current Solicitor General of the United States in the Donald Trump administration. He is the first Asian American confirmed by the United States Senate to hold the position. Now, if we look at post 2274, Q goes over the succession question, which we went over yesterday. With this individual who's next in line, Noel Francisco moves up automatically from the Solicitor General spot per the rules. He was put in this spot in order to be advanced automatically. No POTUS involvement, so no accusations or politics. It's automatic. And this individual is our guy. This individual is going to control Mueller now. All of this has been put into place. This is the plan. We might not have understood what was happening, but now we can see all the puzzle pieces coming together. Now, the deep state, they are in complete panic mode. And the reason why I say this is because the tweets that are coming out from these people are completely amazing. Nancy Pelosi, amid reports that @RealDonaldTrump may fire Rod Rosenstein, which he's not going to, @House GOP and @Speaker Ryan must immediately allow a vote on legislation to protect Special Counsel Mueller's ability to follow the facts. RT, if you agree. Now, this is very interesting. They're very worried that Mueller is going to be removed, that he's going to be next, because they think, and they're trying to spread the word out there that Rosenstein is being fired. Well, he's not. Actually, Noel Francisco will be in charge of him. John O. Brennan. Any attempt by the White House to subvert or manipulate law enforcement should be resisted, rather than resigning. Officials should stand their ground and wait to be fired. Resisting abuse of presidential authority is not a policy difference. It's about adhering to the rule of law. Remember, think mirror. They don't adhere to the rule of law. What they're saying here, and what Brennan is saying here, is stand your ground. Let Trump fire you so he crosses the red line, so we can move in on what Trump is doing. But that's not going to happen. Chuck Schumer. This New York Times report must not be used as a pretext for the corrupt purpose of firing Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein in order to install an official who will allow the president to interfere with the special counsel's investigation. Guess what? He's not going to fire Rosenstein. He's going to allow him to resign. And Trump, hands off, doesn't have to do anything. He's not going to put anyone in that position. Why? Because Noel Francisco automatically moves up. So everything Schumer's saying is fake, phony, and false. Adam Schiff. Under no circumstances should Rod Rosenstein resign. This would place the Mueller investigation in even greater jeopardy. Yes, for them. But not for Trump. Remember, think mirror. Rosenstein should continue to do his job, protect the independence of the Department of Justice, and if the president intends to obstruct justice, force Trump to fire him. It's amazing how they keep saying, let Trump fire Rosenstein. Let Trump fire Mueller. Trump doesn't have to do any of that. Because why? He has leverage. There's no reason to do this. This is the deep state's playbook. It's a dead end. It's dead. There's nothing they can do here. Now in post 2274, Q says, why is Hussein and Michelle Obama actively campaigning in the midterm elections? Is this normal? What's very interesting about this is that Obama and Hillary Clinton both claim Trump and Republicans are trying to win the November midterms by scaring voters. But in some backhanded way of offering hope, they're actually fear-mongering themselves. They're trying to scare the heck out of everyone. Obama said before launching into an anti-Trump screed and stoking fear about the president's agenda, when we take our basic rights for granted, then other voices fill the void, Obama warned. And they promise to fight for the little guy, even as they are helping the wealthiest and the most powerful. And they promise they're going to take on corruption in Washington, and they're just plunder, he said. Well, think the opposite, think mirror. And they start undermining our institutions of democracy, Obama continued, waving his finger, just so it can entrench their power further. And they'll unwind our campaign finance laws so that billionaires have even more influence, and they'll make it even harder for young people to vote and minorities to vote and the poor to vote. No, they're removing all of this so there's no manipulation of the votes. Let's move on to what Hillary is saying. Hillary surmised that Trump will fire people in the White House and his administration who he thinks are crossing him, questioning him, undermining him. She went on a claim Trump is close to being uncontrollable. This is how afraid they are. What they're really saying is that what he is doing is going to undermine everything that they have done. And people are going to come out and they're going to start to learn the truth. They're pushing their agenda through fear right now. And it's not going to work. They know if this election is lost, they are done for. Remember, Trump doesn't have all the Republicans and all the Democrats. He's kind of like in the middle here. And there's a lot of neocons, a lot of dirty Republicans, a lot of dirty Democrats, and there's some good Democrats. There's some good Republicans. But we can see that the swamp, they are in full panic mode. The light is shining brighter and brighter on them. And they don't know what to do. They're trying every trick in the book. But again, you can't fight the truth. It's impossible. I want to go back to post 2273, where Q says Trump Grassley and Anon came out with something very interesting. And the Anon said, follow Senator Grassley. What is different effective this week? Grassley has extra security. What do you notice? Grassley is presiding over a Judiciary Committee considering Criminal Antitrust Anti-Retaliation Act of 2017, whistleblower protection for employees who provide information to the Department of Justice related to criminal antitrust violations. Why does Senator Grassley have a higher than normal amount of security detail? Grassley is seeking the original format of Comey's draft remarks, including metadata to determine who is responsible for the edits of Comey's speech, not to indict Hillary Clinton. He's also seeking records of any discussions about why the edits were made. Why is Grassley and others held in a secure location? So they aren't harmed and their investigation is not thwarted. When did this start? With the lifting of the U1 FBI informant's gag order. What has been different this week? POTUS overseas trip in the Orient. U1 FBI informant released by the Department of Justice for his non-disclosure agreement, his gag order, allowing him to testify. Have secret sessions been underway? Probably. How could this be discovered? Leaks. What must be reported even if filed under state secrets? Application of the privilege results in exclusion of evidence from a legal case based solely on affidavits submitted by the government stating that the court proceedings might disclose sensitive information which might endanger national security. Reporting to Congress, the department will provide periodic reports to appropriate oversight committees of Congress with respect to all cases in which the Department of Justice invokes the privilege on behalf of departments or agencies, FBI, CIA, SS, in litigation, explaining the basis for invoking the privilege of state secrets. It's a name recognized around the world. Clowns, Alice in Wonderland, Hillary Clinton, and Saudi Arabia. Grassley is moving forward with the investigations. We can see that Huber, Horowitz, Sessions, Grassley, Nunes, they're all pushing in the same direction. We see there are a lot more people resigning. And I'm not just talking about government officials. I'm talking about those in high positions in social media. We see that Instagram co-founders, they have resigned in the latest Facebook executive exit. This is Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger. They have resigned as chief executive officers and chief technical officer of the photo sharing app owned by Facebook, which is Instagram. We see Trump is at the UN. And we thought maybe Trump would meet with Rouhani, and it looks like Trump is out there, and he tweeted, "Despite requests, I have no plans to meet Iranian President Rouhani. Maybe someday in the future. I am sure he is absolutely a lovely man." Now remember, a lot of what is happening happens behind the scenes. Do I think this is happening yet with Iran? Not just yet, but I think it's building up to that point. We have to remember the Ayatollah has said, listen, maybe we should drop this agreement with the Europeans. Maybe we should renegotiate this agreement. Rouhani hasn't caved just yet. And remember, the deep state is operating in each and every one of these countries. They've been paid off to operate in these countries. And again, they're making a lot of money. Certain government officials are making a lot of money, just like here in the U.S., and they don't want to give this up. But what's very interesting about this is Rouhani, he is turning to Christine Lagarde of the IMF, the central banking system, the International Monetary Fund. And Rouhani is saying that the IMF needs to basically go up against the U.S. and protect Iran. So now Rouhani is siding with the central bank to protect him. I mean, it seems like he's grasping at straws right now, trying to figure out a way out of this. And the only way out of this is to renegotiate the deal. And guess what? Rout out the deep state operatives in Iran. And I think this is going to happen because it looks like Europe and the rest of the countries, they're not going to come to the aid of Iran. And the payments that were being made to certain individuals through this deal, it's not happening anymore, and they are in trouble. We see the White Helmets, about 100 of them. They have been granted asylum in the UK. Remember, they were evacuated by Israel and the coalition forces to get out of Syria. There are still some left up in the Idlib area, but the southern portion of Syria, they were all removed. And we can see those coalition forces, they are now giving them asylum because they're part of their paid mercenary operations. And we are starting to see that everything that the deep state has been trying to do for the many, many years with the central bankers, it is now falling apart. The globalist regime, the non-elected leaders, the central bank establishment, it is falling apart. And I know we hear words out there that the soldiers will be staying in Syria forever. Well, think back to North Korea. Remember, this is part of the plan to go along with the deep state, to continue with what they've been saying all along. We're going to invade North Korea. We have a plan that is being put into place. There's going to be no peace. That was completely wrong. Trump has already let us know that the soldiers are coming home in Syria. And all this news about the troops will never leave Syria is absolutely ridiculous. Why in the world, after the Islamic State is done, where are they going to stay? Russia and Syria have gained control of the entire country. There's no reason to have the U.S. troops stay in this country. Actually, if we're adhering to the rule of law now, this is completely against international law. We've invaded a country. So what we're going to see coming up is that the troops will be leaving Syria and many other countries. Think about what Trump said at the UN. And we said this in the first report, but let me just repeat this. I honor every nation to pursue its own customs, beliefs, and traditions. The United States will not tell you how to live or work or worship. We only ask that you honor our sovereignty in return. And when he said that we will not tell you how to live, work, or worship, this is what the deep state was doing for a very long time with regime change. And here we are today, where Trump followed this up during the UN speech and said the following: we will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy. Take a listen to what he said here.
The United States will provide no support and recognition to the International Criminal Court. As far as America is concerned, the ICC has no jurisdiction, no legitimacy, and no authority. The ICC claims near universal jurisdiction over the citizens of every country, violating all principles of justice, fairness, and due process. We will never surrender America's sovereignty to an unelected, unaccountable global bureaucracy.
So as you can see, he's denouncing the unelected, unaccountable globalist party, the EU, the central bank system, the UN, and saying we are not going to abide by what you say. You don't hold anything over us, the United States. And once again, we can see he's making a dig at the deep state, at those who want a one world government, those who are trying to put unelected leaders to lead the people of the world. I mean, think about the EU. Those are unelected leaders. They weren't elected to those positions. Yes, you still have elected leaders in the country, but the EU loans the countries and controls the country's finances. This is how the central bankers work, because they control each and every country through currency, through debt. And once you have a country in debt, you can control them. And this is why they wanted a TPP, to place a court system above their government. This was the next phase. And right now, Trump is denouncing all of this. So the deep state, the globalist, the central banking establishment, they are in big trouble. Countries are waking up. The light is shining brighter on them. People are starting to realize what they're trying to do. And they're all scurrying. They're all nervous. And many of the leaders around the world, they're having a very difficult time holding on to their party, holding on to their position. And eventually what we're going to see is most of the countries take back control. And then more countries will take back control. And then more countries will take back control. And we will have a decentralized planet. And this is something that the deep state, the central bankers, the globalists, they don't want. They want control over everything with unelected leaders. And they can see that their entire system is falling apart. And once the D class comes down, once Kavanaugh is confirmed, it's game over. So what are they going to do? Well, when they see that they're going to lose everything, most likely they will pull some type of an event. And Q has warned us about this, that they're going to try to do something. And this, I do believe, is why they have the emergency system put into place, because when Kavanaugh is confirmed, all of a sudden we might see a blackout. We might see a physical event. We might see something else occur. And they're just preparing for this type of scenario. So we can see in the next couple of weeks, we're heading towards the end game for the deep state. And this is when they will react. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.